Guys, I cannot spell for the life of me. Okay. Hello, Twitch. We are now live. Rogue, say hello.
Hi.
This is Rogue. For those of you tuning in or maybe are not unaware, Rogue is someone that I've been talking with on stream for the past, it's like been a month now, I'd say. I think it has been actually. And we've been debating Christianity and Islam. He is a Muslim and I am a Christian, so it makes it, for a good pairing off of ideologies and beliefs, lifestyles, and differences. And tonight, we decided to hop in a Discord call and talk about it because, this is one of the great things that we can do as Christians and as Muslims is debate our different faiths and our different beliefs to something that we believe is false or misguided. And Rogue has been kind enough to be that other viewpoint to contrary to mine because, again, I think I've mentioned this, most of my friends are Christians or like atheists. So this is really the first time that I'll be having a true debate that is not of the same religion, same belief system. Unless you want to debate like movies, then I've argued with plenty of people before over movies. But yeah, Rogue, what do you expect?
I don't expect anything, guys,
You
to be honest.
you were just like, yo, Malachi, you want to talk sometime? Or did I suggest it to you?
Uh, I suggested the debate, but you suggested the Discord call.
Okay. So we worked in tandem, guys. We're a tandem bicycle in this operation. You can ride a bike, right?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can.
Perfect. Then we won't fall over. I mean, that's the main thing in a bicycle is you don't fall over. Very awkward. I've done it before. Okay, so to start off, I think this will more or less be the majority of the debate, unless me and Rogue find some other things that we want to discuss as we go. But the things that I wanted to discuss right off the bat is the challenge that Rogue issued to me a while ago. It has been like 3 or so weeks. That challenge was, for everyone watching this first time, is to find one contradiction in the Quran and to find explanations for the contradictions in the Bible. Correct? That was the second part.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I wasn't researching
No,
the
no, no,
wrong
no.
thing. What?
Not contradictions. Missing verses.
Oh wait, no.
About
I was researching the wrong thing. Okay, but I have also okay. Let me issue a correction already. I have done that aspect too. I have done that part too. I did research the verses. I think we had actually talked about it a little bit on stream before, but so those were the two topics that I was planning on bringing up. I don't know how long it will take. I don't know how long Rogue has, but we'll just hop right into it. So, Rogue, you had asked me to explain the different missing verses from the Bible.
mm-hmm.
And from my research, from what I have discovered, is a vast majority of the verses that are either missing or added, depending on the version, is because of confusion in the translation or added referendum for the listeners at home. So the one example is of John 5:4, right? No, 8:4.
Wait. Let me look.
Let me
You
look.
said what?
John. Wait.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of your lists. Where did I put the list down? I had it somewhere. Okay, I lost the list. 1 second. It's back here somewhere. Da, da, da. Let me just look up the verse that I think it is. Go page. No, but it's not 5:4. It's 8. Where did it? Okay, so no, I was also wrong in that regard. But it is still the missing verses. It was the wrong story though. So the first section of chapter 8 in John, the Gospel of John, is the story of the adulteress. I don't know if we had specifically talked about this one, Rogue, but this story is missing depending on your translation of the Bible, because the texts, like I can't remember the exact names because they're in Latin, but the like one Latin text that was the translation of the Greek had this story in it, but then some other ones that they had more of other ones that had the text with that was missing the text. I misspoke. So this is one of those instances of, I would say, human interference or human delegation that they added in the story as a extra sign piece, because depending on your version, depending on the original text or one of the original translations, it was in there. And it is something that I feel is added in based off of the discretion of the committee. So based off the fact that the version of the Bible that I'm using has this in it, the Holman Christian Standard, which is a offshoot of the New King James and the King James, which is based off of a manuscript that had some significant flaws in the translation. That is why the story is still included in there, is because it is based off of the book, or like the translation of the book, that it's there, but after further studies and further research and further findings in archaeological and archival data, I guess you would call it, they have found better translations of the original text. But that is something that I will admit I was not aware of until I started talking with Rogue. Was not aware of it being missing from some versions of the Bible. And this is the one story that it's included because it doesn't take anything away or add anything too crazy to the idea of Christ. That's why it's still included, because it is in line with the other information we have based off of the what is it? The gospel message, basically, of Christ. But the one verse I was trying to find, is it John 3? Is the Pool of Bethesda, which is somewhere. Let me find it. The book is only so big.
I think I know it. John 5, 2 to 4.
John 5? Bro, really?
3 to 4.
Right in the middle? amazing how my brain worked like that. Yeah. Oh yeah, right there. So John 5:3-4 is within these lay a large number of the sick, blind, lame, and paralyzed, waiting for the movement of the water, because an angel would go down into the pool from time to time and stir up the water. Then the first one who got in after the water was stirred up, recovered from whatever ailment he had. This verse specifically, is cited as a choice of the translator to add a added mystical aspect and heavenly intervention to the healing. I don't exactly agree with it because obviously that is adding onto the text, but considering the fact that this was brought up in this one debate I was watching from James White, and the fact that Christians are very open about the mistakes of the Bible, and because of how many different versions of the Bible that are currently in translation and in circulation, the fact that we know that this was a verse that was added in and was in a part of some versions of the Bible and was not in others, indicates that Christians were not intentionally, and now we are not intentionally trying to deceive people by saying that this book is the Word of God. But it's our version of God. The fact that we have acknowledged that, yeah, there are mistakes. I think of that as a honor. There's the honor and the repute of that. To have that faith in your God, that you can admit that there were things that we had in the past translated wrong or had added in at some point and had just slipped through. I don't see that as a true deviation from Scripture. Because on going off of this, of the 16 verses, I lost my list. Rogue, sorry, I don't know what I did with it. I thought I had written it down somewhere, but I don't know where I put it. But when I was going through the list, I have this on video footage. I recorded. I was in a stream a few weeks ago of me doing some research and finding out that a vast majority of the verses that were missing or added in, depending on your version of the Bible, were added in as extra context. There are some stories, like the adulteress woman, that were added in, but the vast majority of the verses that were either missing or added in was because of extra data based off of other translations that, well, this translation here has it, but then these other ones don't. So we can include it, but have a footnote and have the information be there, but just let people know that we don't know if this was in the original text or if this was another story that got melded into this one by another person writing it in. You know what I mean? Does that make sense, chat? Does that make sense, Rogue? You've been very quiet. I appreciate it. You're a great listener.
No. I was listening. You said the adulterer woman, right?
Yes.
Did you mention the John 7:53, John 8:11, the 12 verses?
7:53. Did I mention? I didn't mention that one. Why? Did you want to bring that up?
No, you said adulterer woman, and I thought it was that.
Oh no.
But
That is that. It is that verse. It's 8:53 to. Where does it end?
John 7 to 11.
Yeah, that was that
Mm,
story. I was talking about that story. Yeah.
That 12 verses, right?
Yes.
Mhm. James White said that, right? It's been added later. It's not in the original text.
Yeah. Wait,
Hmm.
James White, is that who you said? I didn't hear him say it anywhere, but um, that is what I found from my other research, was that it was added in like a later translation, but earlier translations did not have it, but they kept it in and were just like, uh, leave it at that, but let people know that this was missing from earlier translations, that closer to the source, obviously, more substance, that it was probably right. So yeah.
Hmm.
And then what was the other one? You said 7?
Uh, John, John 5,
John,
3 to
no,
4.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was the one. Yeah, John 5, and then John 8 were the two I brought up, but they're the other ones.
Actually, these missing verses are not that important, you know.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean? Care to explain?
I mean, we can. Sorry, continue.
Uh, I was just saying, elaborate
Hmm.
your thought process on it.
What I meant is, like, we can directly jump to the contradictions in the Quran if you want.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the missing verses.
Yeah, I talked about missing verses, but I mean, I think these are explanations are enough, you know.
Yeah.
We,
Well, and that's something that briefly I'll just mention is the um, something that's amazing about us having this conversation is we can uh, like I severely appreciate the fact that you brought to my knowledge that there were these missing verses that, while on the surface look confusing, are actually, you know, you can explain, or there is reasoning behind it. People may not agree with it, but that we can have a civil debate on it. But yeah, if you want, I can bring up some of the contradictions I have found in the Quran.
Mhm. But before that, but when I said you have made enough explanation, like don't get me wrong, like don't get me like I'm disrespecting. I'm not saying like you made enough explanation now be quiet. I don't say it like
Mm.
that. And you don't.
Okay.
What I mean is you don't need to explain all of them. You know.
Okay. Okay. Uh,
This is what I meant.
oh. Okay. Okay. Because,
Mhm.
well, just to be fair, over text it's hard to infer, emotions when you are reading a text. So sometimes it did feel like, but thank you, thank you, thank you, Rook. That is appreciated. So yeah, I have some verses I'm gonna bring up, and I want to ask you about from the Quran.
Okay.
All right, so
How many you have?
one second. I have one, two. I have three right here, but there are a few. I found some different sources that have contradictions. I've just have only really done research on these three. I've been busy, but okay. So the first one, the first contradiction from the Quran is the days of creation. So for any of you not,
You mean 6 and 8 days, right?
hmm?
6 and 8 days, right?
Yeah, 6 and 8. So yeah, so that is a
Mm-hmm.
contradiction, and based off of what you've told me, there is the idea that in if there is one contradiction in the Quran, then it is false. So I wanted to ask you, from the research of reading the Quran, the surahs, Surah 7:58, and then Surah 49 or 41 9 through 12 seem to indicate that there are two separate accounts of creation days, the 6 and the 8 days.
Can you repeat the verses? Because I have Quran in my hand. I need to open the verses.
Okay. Surah 7:54.
Okay, wait. Surah 7, 50, what? 54 you said?
Yes, 54. So, no, too far. That's 10, 9, 8, 7. So yeah, Surah 7:54. I'm pulling it up too. 1 second. It says, surely your Lord is Allah, who created the heavens and the earth in 6 periods of time, and He is firm in power. He throws the veil of night over the day, which it pursues incessantly, and He created the sun and the moon and the stars, made subservient by His command. Surely His is the creation and the command. Blessed is Allah and the Lord of the world. So, that verse says 6 periods, which it seemed to indicate days. So that is 6 days. And then in Surah 41, 9 through 12, I'll let you flip through that. I have to flip through that as well. Feels so weird trying to go through this book. I haven't.
Surah 44, 41, what verse you said?
9, starting at 9, going through 12. 41, 9. Okay. Are you there?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. So then.
Starting from 9 goes to where you said?
Surah 41, 9. 41, 9. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. So, say, what do you indeed disbelieve in Him who created the earth in 2 periods, and do you say up equals with Him? That is the Lord of the worlds, and He made it in mountains above its surface, and He blessed therein and made therein its food in 4 periods, alike for the seekers. Then He directed Himself to the heavens, and it is a vapor, so He said to it and to the earth, come both, willingly or unwillingly. They both said, we come willingly. So we ordained them 7 heavens in 2 periods, and revealed in every heaven its affair, and we adorned the lower heaven with brilliant stars, and made it to guards. That is the decree of the mighty, the knowing. So, those 2 sections have the 2 different days. You had already said you seem to already know about it. So, what is your, I guess, explanation for it? Yeah.
Do you know Dr. Zakir Naik in the YouTube? That Indian guy, Indian scholar, Muslim scholar.
I can't say I do.
Okay. He explained these verses, this contradiction. What he said, I can simplify it. Okay. Let's think about Monday to Saturday, 6 days.
Okay.
Allah said He created the earth in 2 days, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's put this to Monday and Tuesday.
Okay.
And verse 10 talks about creating 4 days, right?
Yes.
And let's put this to Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And Allah talks about the verse 12, creating the heavens in 2 days.
Yes.
So Allah creating the heavens is not after He created earth, like He created earth in 6 days, but He also created the heavens in that 6th day. So He created heaven in Monday and Tuesday. Then He started to build up from Wednesday. And He started to also creating the heaven in Thursday and Friday, and he finished all of them in Saturday. So it's again 6 days.
Okay. So it is the idea that it is just the poetic way of the speech that it is sounds like it's eight days, but is in fact just the way that it was decided or it was written down. It makes it seem like 8, but it was really just 6. But it was just the way they worded it.
Mhm.
Okay.
So let me say like this: if Allah said in the verse 13, if we plus all of this, this makes 6. This makes 8 days. It would make contradiction, but it doesn't say it's 8 days. It just separates the creations.
Because in Surah 7:54 it just says 6. So that would be a clear contradictions. But the reasoning is because it is separated into 2, 4, and 2, that it's still just talking about the same 6-day period. Okay, or 6 periods, which are days. Interesting. Okay.
Just think like this: Allah talks about how we created in these 3 verses, and in that verse, you said in the Surah 7, verse 54, he just simplifies it. Allah says, "I just created it in 6 days." He doesn't make explanation.
Yeah.
So,
Ooh. Gotcha. All right. Oh, yo, Croaky, I missed you showed up. What's up? All right. Cool. So that's the explanation. That's your explanation for that contradictions. Okay. So then the other one is, or the second one is, will Christians go to paradise? And the contradictions are in Surah 572. So.
one second.
Yeah, I gotta turn there too, dude.
Okay, go on. I'm listening.
Yeah, 572 and then Surah 262.
I know these verses.
Okay. So.
Okay, go.
So, oh wait, 1 second. Thought I was there. Am I there yet? Nope. Dude, I gotta say, it is funny to see the Quran has the verses, and the chapters have so many verses compared to the Bible. The Bible there's very few books that have chapters with more than 100 verses. There's, I think, 1. Yeah, okay. There. Okay, 62. Okay, so starting in 262, surely those who believe and those who are Jews, and the Christians and the Sabians, whoever believes in Allah and the last day and does good, they shall have their reward from their Lord, and there is no fear for them, nor shall they grieve. So that's that first verse, and then Surah 572. Where is it on this page? Yep. Certainly, they disbelieve who say, "Surely Allah, He is the Messiah, son of Maryam." And the Messiah said, "O children of Israel, serve Allah, my Lord and your Lord. Surely, whoever associates others with Allah, then Allah has forbidden to him the garden, and his abode is the fire, and there shall be no helpers for the unjust." So, you are aware of these verses as well. So, to basically sum it up to people in chat, the first verse is saying that Christians, Sabians, and Jews all get to go to paradise because they believe in Allah. But then in this verse, they're saying that if they associate that if there's anyone that associates Allah with another, and in this case Christians would be associating Christ, because Christians believe that Jesus is God. Muslims believe that Jesus is a prophet. So that is where the contradiction of, wait, so in this verse, it says that Christians get to go to paradise. But then in this verse, it's saying anyone that associates Allah, or anyone basically with Allah that is not supposed to be associated with Allah because we are human, then that means they go to. Do you call it hell in Islam? What do you call it?
Well, we call Jahannam, but
Jannam?
if it Jahannam, but we call it as hell.
Okay, okay.
You can simply call it hell.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Cool. So then, Rogue, what is the explanation, in a sense, for this verse?
Do you know the Prophet Muhammad came 600 years after Jesus?
Yes.
Allah says in the Quran, there's a one verse. I don't know in which place it's in, but it says, "We do not punish a nation until we send messengers."
Okay.
So, when Allah talks about the Christians or the Jewish people, sorry, He actually talks about the people are between Jesus and Prophet Muhammad. You know the 600 years.
Mm.
In that 600 years, there was no prophet. And the explanation of that verse is, I actually will give this story. There was one companion of the Prophet Muhammad, and he was a Christian. He became Muslim. He came to the Prophet Muhammad and he said, "I had Christian friends who died before you. What about them?" Prophet Muhammad said, "They are in hell." So that companion felt extremely sad. He went in a depression. Then Allah revealed that verse, and He said, "Those Christians who stayed in Christianity between Jesus and Prophet Muhammad is all they are in the straight path. They will go to heaven because no prophets came to them." And that verse still includes in these days. You know, I talked about Prophet Muhammad to you. You know, if you die, let's say, let's talk about the 16-year, 16-year, no, 60-year-old Christian,
Okay.
and he dies. If he dies before hearing about Prophet Muhammad, he goes to hell. Sorry, he goes to heaven because there was no messenger came to him. Did you understand?
1 second. So, the idea is that Christians that have not heard of the Prophet Muhammad would
Mm-hmm.
go to heaven. But those that heard of Muhammad and
who still stays in Christianity goes to hell.
okay, interesting. We kind of there I think we've talked about there's kind of we had that same sort of debate over Christianity.
Mm-hmm. What about before Jesus?
Yeah, what about before Jesus?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, okay. Gotcha.
Wait. I will explain. I will explain more.
Okay.
There's three groups in Muslims. There's three groups in Islam. One is the children that has not reached puberty. The other ones is crazy people that has no mind. And the third of them is the people who did not hear about Prophet Muhammad or who did not hear about Islam.
Okay.
What Muslim scholars says is they will not be judged by their actions because they did not hear about Islam. So Allah cannot put them in hell because there was no prophet came to them. So Allah will test them. Allah will test them in the day of judgment. If they choose good, they will go to heaven. Because, for example, people who has no mind, how they can choose if they has no mind? If Allah punishes them, there would be no justice.
Okay.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So yeah, this is the explanation.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Cool. So something that I'm seeing right now is just from observing. Obviously, I have not done enough study on well, as much study as the on the Quran as I have on the Bible, but it seems to be that these are, to me as a Christian, uh, the story of the Christian and do you have the stream open, Rogue?
No, no, I don't have.
Okay. Kroki is asking, doesn't Allah mean God in Arabic? That is correct, right?
Allah means al-ilah, and ilah means the one who you worship the one.
Okay, so
You
it's
can
not.
you can wait. The ilah means the money can be your ilah. You can worship to money. You can worship to anything. You can worship to idols. That idol become your ilah. But al ilah means the one who is worthy of worship, the one true worthy of worship.
Okay, interesting.
It means that the true ilah.
Gotcha. So then, as I was saying, the the way that story sounds to me is that just as a uh, like incursory glance that Muhammad, because I believe that the Quran is um, corrupted script and uh, just written down by man as uh, the Christian aspect of the Quran, but the story of the revelation of verse 5 or no 572 seems like it's a uh, verse to appease Muhammad's friend, to ease his uh, pain. It doesn't seem as a the divine like what's the word I'm looking for? It's just a divine revelation. But obviously, if Quran is true, if Christianity is false, and Islam is correct, then that would be so. Then that would be then that is a divine revelation. But as a Christian, it feels that it's not. You understand?
By the way, are we going to talk about it too?
Talk about what?
I mean, Quran being divine revelation or not? Is Christianity true religion or not?
Yeah, we can talk about that. I have just
Mm-hmm.
the one more contradiction that I've done my own research onto, and then we can
Mm-hmm.
talk about that. Yeah. So the final contradiction that I have done research on is, how was man made? I'm sure you also know about this. The Surah
Mm-hmm.
or the Quran mentions in two separate parts about how the man was made, and to as a quick reminder, if you do not remember the verses off the top of your head, they are Surah 15:26.
Wait.
That's 10. That's 12. 15. 20.
Said 15. What?
15:26.
Mm-hmm. 15:26 and
96:2. I'm not on the right page.
Can you repeat the verse?
Second one. 96:2.
6. Okay.
Do you know them? Do you recognize them?
Mm-hmm. I know.
Yeah. All right. So. Shoot. Stupid technology. So much fun. All right. So. Surah 15:26 reads as follows.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly we created man of clay that gives forth sound, of mud fashioned in shape. Very much in kind of in line with the depending on your translation of the Bible, it's referred to as clay or dust that man was made from. And then in Surah 96:2, am I saying that right? Surah? Yeah, Surah 96:2, it says he created man from a clot. And what I've seen as the idea is the clot is referencing a blood clot. So then clay and blood. I don't have clay running through my veins, I don't believe. So there's that contradiction of clay or blood.
Should I start?
Yes, Rogue, go ahead. Let's hear what you say. What you got?
Okay, Surah 15, you said 26, right?
Yes.
Man made from clay. This simply refers to creation of Adam. You know, the Adam created from clay.
Okay.
This is simple. But you said this 96, right? 96 too.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't say, you said the word cloth, right?
Yes.
Cloth. It doesn't actually say that. It says embryo. What that word?
Is that in the Arabic? It says that.
In Arabic, it says the something that holds to another thing,
Okay, so
which refers to embryo.
could it be the translation? Because I'm reading it straight from Quran from the 80s.
You can type to Google. Actually, there's more than one translations.
Okay, gotcha. So is it? All right.
How you say?
Just continue.
More of them, it says embryo.
Okay.
So we know that the man is created from embryo too, right?
Yes.
In actually another verse, it says the man created from water, which that refers to the sperm, the semen. It's a process actually. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay.
There's actually one story about this verse too. There was a Christian scholar who searched about this verse. He saw that a man from 1,400 years ago couldn't have guessed that. And he said, this book has to be from God. But he died as a Christian. He said, I have my own way to God. But he said, this book cannot be from any man. He's an embryologist, by the way.
Okay. Hmm. So the
Yeah,
idea that
this is the story.
they wouldn't know what it is for a while still.
Mhm. There's actually many facts about like that.
Okay.
In its scientific facts.
Hmm.
Oh, there's no contradiction, I guess. No?
I guess the question is still the contradict the I think the contradiction that people see in that is it says even still it's a contradiction. So the idea that man was created from blood blood clot embryo, which or clot slash embryo, depending on translation, and God or man created from clay. Is that talking about the first man? Is that talking about Adam, or is that just talking about man? Because in '96, it sounds like. Wait, am I right? He created man from a clot because it is talking about Allah. So, is that talking about the first man?
No,
That
it
I think
doesn't
is
talk about the first man.
it is talking about man in general.
Hmm. What when Allah said Allah created man from clay, it talks about Adam. But when it says the embryo, it talks in general.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Cool.
Because when it says uh, Allah created mankind from clay, which we came from Adam, and Allah created Adam from clay, which means we came from clay too, because that's the starting point.
You hear here first, folks. We are in fact just clay. You know, just a little bit more malleable. Yeah. So cool. I was wondering what your explanations would be for those verses. Cool. Very cool. Very fun. Very fun. Chad, what do you think? Having fun? I sometimes forget that I don't actually hear chat. That chat doesn't actually speak into my ears. So sometimes I'm wait for them to respond.
Okay.
I don't know if you've noticed that, but yeah. Okay, so you want to talk about the divine revelation and is Bible and Quran? We can talk about both a little bit. I don't know
Before that,
what.
yeah, continue.
Uh, well, I was just asking if you wanted to talk about or I guess debate the divine revelation of the Quran and the Bible. But you have something else?
Hmm. I mean, before that, we can talk about the son of Abraham. That you search it.
Oh yeah. We can talk about that. Yeah. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
we talked about it a little bit on stream, right? Or I did, and you
So,
you were texting about it. But yeah, you have something else to add to it?
uh, the Bible says Abraham sacrificed Isaac, right?
Yes.
And Quran says Abraham sacrificed Ishmael,
Yes.
and you searched it.
Mm-hmm.
So, what does Google say about it?
Oh, you're asking me to Google it right now?
No. You said you searched it. You searched it.
Oh, you're asking what came up. Okay. So what the
Mm-hmm.
idea was of it. Okay, so this is the explanation. The explanation that came of it is that scholars believe the fact that God promised Isaac as the son, they use that as he is the promised son. So therefore, the idea that God promised him a son, that Abraham acted outside of God's will to create Ishmael, that he fornicated with Hagar. Yeah, Hagar. That was outside of what God wanted. So therefore, the true first son, on the technicality of that, believing that God is, divine, that God promised Isaac as the first son, that therefore Abraham sacrificing him is correct. But based off of contextual readings for the Quran of the Quran and the Bible, the idea of him sacrificing his firstborn would indicate Ishmael. But the reasoning that the scholars have is that the fact that Ishmael was not the chosen promised son of Abraham. That is why he is not considered the true firstborn. But that is a can of worms I don't fully understand, because here in America we don't really have a whole true reverence for the idea of firstborn promised, the idea of like bastards, of like that bloodline. Like everyone over here is, we have we're part-blooded of most races. We're part-blooded from like Germany, Ireland, Switzerland, Canada, or like natives, Asian, Spanish, Spaniards, all these different places. So we don't really have that idea. I don't know how it is over there, but I don't know. That's just my own side tangent. That's not connected. I was just talking. So that was what I found on Google.
Do you know why Abraham prayed for son? Asking God for a son.
To have
because he had no son.
Yeah.
Because he had no son, and he was trying to make it, but it was how do I say this?
Infertile.
It
wasn't
going.
Wasn't going how he wanted. Yeah.
He couldn't make it, so he prayed God to give him a son. And when Allah gave him a son, which is Ishmael, the firstborn, Allah wanted him to sacrifice it. But this is actually the true story. Allah wanted to test his loyalty. This is what Quran refers.
Okay. So, I think the story is very much the actual story of the sacrifice is nigh identical to the Torah interpretation, or the Torah's telling of the tale, except for the son part, which son it was.
And there was one thing too. You know the prophet Joseph?
Joseph, yeah.
When Bible talks about the leader of his tribe, it says Pharaoh. But in Quran, it says the king. And historians searched about it, and they looked and they saw that in the time of Joseph, there was no Pharaoh, there was kings. But in the time of Moses, there was pharaohs. So the Bible makes an error, but Quran does not make an error.
So the idea that the fact that the basis that the Bible calls the ruler over Joseph a pharaoh, even though they were referred to as kings during that time, but they were referred to as pharaohs in Moses' time is a error. Correct? I'm understanding that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Are you aware of who wrote the Torah?
You mean Old Testament?
Yeah. When the uh, what?
By the way, sorry. Uh, do you mean that the Old Testament came to Moses, or Old Testament we have now?
The Old Testament that came to Moses, the books that he wrote, the Torah.
It was revealed from Allah.
Yeah. I mean, that's more or less what we believe as well. Obviously, we believe Yahweh provided to him. But so my thought is on that is Moses refers to it as Pharaoh because that is who he knows it as. He knows it as Pharaoh. 400 years later, that's who he knows it as, Pharaoh, which is the ruler. So yeah, maybe he wasn't referred to as Pharaoh in the times of Joseph, but to the Israelites and the Jews, or the Israelites, the Hebrews of the time, the Jews, whatever you want to call them, Pharaoh was what they would know the king as. So, I guess you would call it a grammatical error. If you wanted to. That's the way I would put it, I guess. Yeah.
You said Moses called Pharaoh, right?
Wasn't that what you said? That during the time
didn't
of
you say
Moses?
that?
During the time of Moses, you said that the ruler was called Pharaoh.
Pharaoh.
Yeah.
Just you said Moses wanted to call Pharaoh, right?
Wanted to call Pharaoh? He called the ruler back in the time of Joseph Pharaoh. That's what I'm saying, maybe.
So, did Moses call or Yahweh called? Because if Moses calls, that would mean the corruption of the word of Allah. That would mean corruption of the word of Yahweh. If he puts his words, that would mean a corruption.
Okay. So this is the same argument or the same debate we can have over the verses from the New Testament. The wordings of it. Is the message any different? Is the idea that Joseph served was the highest amongst everyone in Egypt below Pharaoh himself, below the king? Does the message change? The word changes from king, Pharaoh. Those change. But does the message of Joseph was below none except Pharaoh, above king? King, yeah. Does that change? That is I feel that is the great conundrum of having these contradictions. I feel it too with the Quran is because of how language changes, because of how we change our interpretation of language, how as we've continued to find older and older texts and as we've done research and cross-examination, a lot of these contradictions may not be contradictions, but just changes in translation, but something that I feel for the Bible. I don't know if this is as big of a deal with the Quran because you are, from my understanding, Muslims are meant to read the Quran in Arabic, so that is the original text language. But because the Bible is translated into so many different languages, we have the innate problem of things are going to not translate as well to some languages as others. But when you are looking at the biblical canon of what we consider the Bible, the canon of this book, it is, does the message stay the same? The words might change. There might be a preposition or a and or but included in a verse, whereas in another version there might be a however. Grammatically they are different, but thematically they exert the same power. And that is something that I see in both the Quran and the Bible. That's not just something that, and you can also find that in so many other books that are, ancient texts or medieval texts. We have changed the way we write down words to suit the current, I guess, standard. Does that make sense? Chat, does that make sense? Rogue, that makes sense?
So if the message doesn't change, that wouldn't make it false, right?
Yes. If the message does not
You said
change,
if
it,
the message does not change, that wouldn't bring a contradiction, but that would bring a historical error, and that would still makes it no longer word of God, no longer fully word of God.
So you ascribe to that if the Bible is not using the historically accurate terms of well, in this instance, the historically accurate term of king during the time of Joseph, even though it's written down in the time of Moses, then that is not divine inspiration, because God cannot have any flaws, correct?
What I can say is, like, we don't reject all of it. We don't reject all of the Bible. What we say is, we accept some of it because it still has the words of Allah, but we cannot accept all of it because it has the words of human.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly.
And when you said if it has any error in it, yeah, we can say it's no longer fully word of God, fully.
Yeah.
Yeah, because God cannot make mistakes,
Yeah. And I can argue the same thing in the instance of the how is man made. The fact that it was, if depending on your version and depending on the translation, if the original translation, if the original Arabic is embryo.
Oh, no, it doesn't say embryo. It says something that holds to another thing. That word means actually that. That word means something that holds another thing, which is embryo.
Yo, Fox Cub Pet. Thanks for the follow.
And there is something about Quran. You know the Arabic Quran, and there is translations.
Yes.
We don't call Quran to translations. We say to them translation of Quran. We don't say Quran to them. So if you find any contradiction in the translations, we don't say it's Quran. If you can find any contradiction in Arabic, you can say, okay, you found it. So what you need to find is contradiction in Arabic, which is because that is what Quran is. This actually goes same with the Bible, the Hebrew, and the English.
And that is Fox Cub. I turned it up a little bit. Is it better? But Rogue. The can't hear you clearly. Can you hear me clearly now? The most of the error, the translation or the so-called contradictions and errors in the Bible occur from the translations. So if we are to say it, if we are to view it that way, then having the original text in front of us is the best. Is well, would clearly be the best way to view these ancient texts. To have the word in the original text in what it was originally written in, as close as we can to get to the original time of the books, of the actual people. The Bible, I think we had Mark was, I think, 40 years after.
After Jesus, you mean?
Yeah, 40 years after Jesus.
No. That's not, because the earliest manuscript, the New Testament, as I know, the Papyrus 52 or Papyrus 54, 45, and those are 200 years after Jesus.
No. I mean the original Mark was originally written about 40 or 70 AD. We don't have those original texts, but I'm saying that's where they date it at. And the same sort of thing for the Quran. It was dated. What? Yo, Stannis, what's up? Wait, Fox Cub?
By the way, Quran is still the same Quran from the time of Prophet Muhammad. It's the same Quran. Nothing changed. Not a single letter.
Okay.
And we have manuscripts from the time of Prophet
you're talking
Muhammad.
about... Yeah, I've been called Ashton Kutcher before, chat. Sorry, Rogue. Sorry. Chat's...
No problem.
But... Yeah. So... That is something that we can argue about for the Bible, at least, is the basis that the Bible in the original manuscript is probably as close to the original text as possible. It is difficult because the Bible came into existence 600 years before the Quran or Muhammad. And then as we have translated and duplicated and transferred it over and over, it's changed. And you're saying because the Quran has no changes because they only it's mostly stayed in its original language, and because you ascribe any book that has words that are altered from the original text as not Quran, we have the same sort of view for the Bible, that if there is a version of the Bible that is omitting verses that are not canonical, then it is not of God. The same sort of thing.
Same here in Islam too.
Yeah.
But there's verses in the Quran where it says, I think Surah 5 verse 45, probably. You can look up to him. Look up to it. It says, we have revealed
5 what?
Surah 5 verse 45. Or 46.
45, 46.
Let me look too.
45.
1 second.
Okay. So yeah, chat.
Wait.
I have been called Ashton Kutcher before. I get it a lot where I work. A bunch of women come in and are like, "Hey, you remind me of that guy from..." It's mostly That 70s Show, but yeah. It's funny. I didn't know he was...
Yeah, 46.
zombie movie on Disney Channel. That's something new. Okay, 46. And we sent them
Surah 5.
Oh, 45. And we prescribed to them in it that life is for life, and eye for eye, and nose for nose, and ear for ear, and tooth for tooth, and that there is reprisal and wounds. But he who forgoes it, it shall be an expiation for him, and whoever did not judge by what Allah revealed, those are they that are the unjust.
46.
Oh, 46?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, no, stupid. Lost my page. It's not a dead horse. It's just a funny coincidence that keeps happening. I keep getting called Ashton Kutcher. I can't escape it. My rugged good looks are too much. I'm joking. I'm not that handsome. I'm not that conceited. 46. Okay. And we sent after them in their footsteps Issa, son of Maryam, verifying what was before him.
Isa means Jesus. Maryam means Mary.
Ah, gotcha. Where was it?
Jesus, son of Mary.
Yeah, Jesus, son of Mary, verifying what was before him of the Tarat, and we gave him the Injil, in which was guidance and light, and verifying what was before it of Tarat, and a guidance and an admonition. It's hyphenated weird. Wait, 1 second. I got this. Don't laugh at me. I can figure this out. Okay. Admonition for those who guard against evil. Okay, I don't think I said that word right at all. I don't think I got that right at all. But yeah.
So as you can see, it says we have gave the Injil means the gospel.
Yes.
But it talks about the gospel that was given to Jesus, not Mark, not Matthew, not Luke, not John, not Paul. It talks about the Injil that Allah revealed to Jesus that has no contradiction on it. But you don't have that gospel now.
You
have the Gospels of Mark.
I have heard this one before of the idea that there is this the gospel of the gospel
You're
given
lagging.
to what the gospel that there was a gospel given to Jesus, like a physical book that was given to Jesus, that is the gospel that the Quran speaks of. But if you look at the Bible, and for the most part the early Christians, how did these people have did they just have the word based off of what was passed down onto them? There was no actual gospel, but the basis for the Bible is that there is that gospel that was given to God, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Now I guess you can argue the validity of God ordaining them to write down these verses or write down these books, but having my stream just crashed. Having these Bible passages as a gospel for believers to follow and adhere to because of the message of Christ. If the
Can you hear me?
Did
I think you're lagging, man.
Oh, shoot. My internet is... I think my internet went out. 1 second. No, it says I have internet. What is going on? What happened to my technology?